Okay, picture this. Every morning you stand in front of your closet picking out what to wear. Are those clothes just random pieces of fabric, or maybe just the result of whatever's trending right now? Well, no, actually. As you'll see, the literal shapes of those clothes actually hide a deep, philosophical blueprint of an entire nation.
So, how is the shape of the clothes we wear actually determined? Most of the time we just assume it's because of the weather, or functionality, or just the latest fashion fad. But what if getting dressed is actually the act of putting on a culture's entire view of the universe? It means that tucked right there into the silhouette of a garment is a profound philosophy, acting as its very skeleton.
Okay, let's dive into this. To understand it all, we first need to look at this core concept called cultural will. Simply put, it's like the seed of a tree. Different nations grow from totally different philosophical seeds. And this seed acts as the fundamental DNA that shapes not just our subconscious, but, you guessed it, the very shape of our clothing.
Now, the unique seed that sprouted Korean culture is known as japwa, or grafting. Think of it literally like grafting a plant. You have two totally different entities meeting, but neither one consumes or dominates the other. Instead, they just intertwine equally, keeping their unique differences, and boom, they burst forth with completely new life.
And this idea of grafting, it didn't just appear out of nowhere, it goes way, way back. We're talking ancient myths like Mago and Dangun, where heaven and earth unite. It runs through the Sunbi spirit, blending human nature with the divine, and all the way to Hwarangdo and Donghak philosophies, where humanity and the universe are completely interconnected. It's literally the fruit of thousands of years of philosophical roots, harmonizing heaven, earth, and humanity.
So, how does this abstract philosophy actually show up? Well, it blossoms into four distinct aesthetic categories in Korean culture. You've got shinmyeong, which is this dynamic joy that overcomes hardship. There's haehak, or humor that brushes off absurdity. Then there's the unadorned sobak, meaning simplicity. And finally, pyeongon, a deep peace transcending the everyday world. All right, now let's see how these feelings actually transform into the clothes we wear. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly the dynamic dance movements and the silhouette of the clothes become one. That boiling inner joy, the shinmyeong we just talked about, shows up as these wide, fluttering sleeves in a really generous fit. Instead of tightly binding the body, those freely blowing fabrics let all that pent-up excitement just explode outward.
Take a look at this relaxed skirt silhouette. This perfectly captures the variability of the hanbok. You know, unlike a Western corset that forces the body into a rigid, fixed mold, this clothing actually creates a brand new shape every single time the wearer moves or the wind blows. The clothing isn't trying to control the person at all. Rather, it's embracing them.
All right, let's bump up the visual tempo a bit. Check out this incredibly colorful Saekdong Jogori and its brilliant color schemes. Even on still fabric, you can feel this intense, playful rhythm. The colors clash and harmonize all at once, throwing off this vibrant visual movement. It's the Korean aesthetic's pursuit of living, breathing vitality, literally unfolding right before our eyes in these cheerful color combinations.
Let's slow down for a second and look really closely at the tailoring of the joggery jacket here. Notice the deliberate asymmetry. The left and right sides aren't perfect mirror images. That single bow or ogurium tied to one side, it completely, almost coolly, rejects artificial perfection. Instead, it finds this creative, spontaneous charm right inside the imbalance.
And this magic of asymmetry continues right into the traditional pants. If you look at the pattern, totally different sized pieces of fabric are cut and sewn together asymmetrically. But the second these flat pieces of fabric wrap around a body, they create an incredibly three-dimensional space that makes for the most comfortable movement possible. It's like this dynamic balance and tension is literally woven into the very seams. Now let's step back from the vividness and look at the aesthetics of simplicity and peace, sobak and pyeongon. Just look at the gentle curves on these traditional bosyeon socks. There are no sharp, artificial lines here. Instead, it mimics the natural rolling of a hill or the curved eaves of a hanok roof. You really get the sense that they wanted even the tips of the toes to just gently blend in and become part of nature. This sense of peacefulness shines right through in materials like rami fabric too. They purposefully keep the rough, natural texture of the plant fibers, and instead of using flashy dyes, they leave this pure, clear white space. It's all about naturalness. It's not about forcing or dominating nature, but deeply respecting it and basically choosing to breathe alongside it. Okay, so what about Western clothing and culture? What philosophy did that stem from? Well, the backbone of Western civilization is differentiation. Imagine a single cell dividing over and over to evolve. It's the action of sharply dividing the world into highly separated, distinct states. As you can see, this is a completely different path from the Korean idea of grafting, where everything harmonizes. So, the crucial point is that the very ideals of life in these two cultural spheres were totally different. The Greek or Western ideal was all about maximizing unrestricted individual autonomy, basically winning the competition and achieving excellence. The Eastern ideal, on the other hand, was about lowering oneself to build harmonious relationships and finding profound joy in just ordinary everyday connections.
Even the lens they used to view the world was different. This differentiation led the West to set up a strict hierarchy, a pyramid structure separating the all-powerful creator at the top from humanity, animals, and plants below. But the East saw a seamlessly integrated universe. God, nature, and humanity weren't separated by hard boundaries. They were all tangled together in one massive, interconnected web of life.
And their ways of thinking are in sharp contrast too. Western philosophy often tries to find fixed, unchanging truths by splitting concepts into black and white, like reason versus emotion or beauty versus ugliness. Eastern thought, though, it embraces the idea that the ultimate reality is actually constant change. It moves away from strict black and white dichotomies and instead seeks wisdom that doesn't lean too far to either extreme.
Now, there's no denying that this Western approach of dividing and analyzing the world led to absolutely massive scientific and technological advancements. But it came with some serious side effects. Humans started acting as rulers over nature, viewing it as something to dominate, and even culture splintered into these isolated fragments, science over here, art over there, morals somewhere else, creating a world that feels pretty disconnected.
So today, we opened up the closet doors to compare these massive philosophical blueprints of East and West. We live in an era of pretty intense extremes right now: division, conflict, environmental crises. So what can the ancient wisdom of grafting, acknowledging differences while seamlessly blending them together, and the generous, embracing fit woven into the Handbook teach our highly divided modern world? It's a huge question. Think about it the next time you pick out your clothes tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.